The news in details. The National Dialogue's Board of Trustees holds a session on Wednesday to discuss the outcome of previous sessions before presenting them to President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The General Coordination of the National Dialogue, Dia Rashwan, said 13 committees out of 19 have come up with legal and executive suggestions and recommendations. Rashwan said specialized committees have held meetings over the past period with a number of experts and specialists to lay out political, economic and social suggestions. He noted that the recommendations and suggestions are being prepared for the review of the Board of Trustees before presenting them to President Sisi to put the final say. The National Dialogue's Board of Trustees is scheduled to hold a session over the outcome of proposals by specialized committees. Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri held a press conference in Cairo on Tuesday following an Arab Ministerial Liaison Committee meeting on Syria. Shukri held it with his Syrian, Saudi, Iraqi and Jordanian counterparts on the sidelines of the committee's meeting.
At a press conference in Cairo following an Arab Ministerial Liaison Committee meeting on Syria, Foreign Minister Sameh Shukri said on Tuesday the meeting had focused on humanitarian issues in Syria, especially the problems of refugees and the significance of their safely return to Syria. The top diplomat stressed the significance of Syrian unity and sovereignty, as well as realizing the Syrian people's interests. He said the committee reaffirmed the significance of abiding by the international legitimacy concerning Syria, noting that the ministers had agreed on holding periodical experts meetings on the country until ending the Syrian crisis. Shukri further called on the international community and the Arab countries to shoulder the responsibility towards Syria and help the country to end its crisis. He called on resolving the Syrian crisis through peaceful means and settlement and resorting to a set roadmap. Earlier, Shukri met with his Syrian counterpart Faisal al-Maqdad, during which he asserted that the committee is keen to help solving the Syrian crisis and support Syrian people, as well as preserving the unity and territorial integrity of Syria. The two top diplomats reviewed the latest developments in Syria and ongoing efforts by the Syrian government to deal with the refugees issue, combating terrorism and drugs, as well as imposing sovereignty over the Syrian land. During his meeting with his Saudi counterpart, Prince Faisal bin Farhan, Minister Shukri voiced willingness to deepen bilateral cooperation in key sectors of priority for both Egypt and Saudi Arabia. Shukri said he is proud of close historical ties binding Egypt and Saudi Arabia in various domains. For his part, Minister Farhan hailed the recent momentum in Egyptian-Saudi relations, saying it is an asset for Arab joint action and solidarity. Separately, Shukri held talks with Jordan's Foreign Minister Ayman al-Safadi and Iraq's Foreign Minister Fouad Hussein.
The Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates described the incursions carried out by Israeli occupation of cities, towns and Palestinian camps as a war crime against humanity. The ministry said those attacks came as a result of the failure of the international community in providing international protection for the Palestinian people. Palestinian health officials said Israeli occupation forces shot and killed 2 Palestinians, including a 16-year-old boy, in a raid in the occupied West Bank on Tuesday. The Palestinian Health Ministry said the raid took place in the Jericho area, where it has been seen heavy fighting, heavy fighting over the last 16 months. Palestinian sources said that occupation forces raided and fired the Palestinians to make the number of martyrs reach 11. The occupation forces also arrested 17 Palestinians in sporadic areas in the West Bank. Dozens of Israeli settlers stormed the Holy Al-Aqsa Mosque from Al-Magharba Gate under heavy protection by Israeli occupation forces. The settlers carried out provocative rounds in Al-Aqsa yards and carried out Talmudic rituals. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Authority of Detainees and Released Affairs said the occupation authorities had detained 170 Palestinian kids amid hard detention conditions. The Palestinian Authority added that 2/3 of the detained kids are being physically tortured, while all the detained are being psychologically tortured as well. Gunfighting between the two leading armed groups in Tripoli killed 2 people, injured 30 others, and forced the closure of Libyan capital's only civilian airport, Mitiga. Air traffic was stopped, flights were diverted to Misrata, about 180 kilometers to the east, and planes that had been parked on the tarmac were moved away. The Libyan Health Ministry called for blood donations and the establishment of a safe corridor to evacuate families trapped in the fighting. The clashes between the influential 444 Brigade and the Al-Rada Force, or Special Deterrence Force, erupted on Monday night and carried over into Tuesday. The United Nations Support Mission in Libya said in a statement it was following with concern the security deterioration in the Libyan capital and its impact on civilians. The UNSMIL said violence is not an acceptable means to resolve disagreements.